Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hell for Dummies. Today we're going to be covering the Demon Mouth, which I've been looking forward to getting to cover. And I am also going to be providing a supplement to the Blood Bridge. Just going to be covering a melee strat that I didn't cover in too great of detail in the video previously in this series. So I'm just going to show you, this character was the one that actually scored a level 1 golden key, which I will be giving away, as well as 6 other golden keys, I believe, to a lucky patron or subscriber on my Twitch channel, including like a plethora of other loot. It's kind of a big shindig on Tuesdays, so go ahead and subscribe here and follow me on Twitch if you'd like to be a part of that loot pool. If you want to rewind, you can see that I'm just trying to get this character to level 15, but I am leaving off my 3 extra perks because the only thing you really get by leveling up are the extra perks, and I also reset completely so he has a base loadout, so he's basically a level 1 character. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk strats. I'm going to be covering some kind of intermediate tactics and techniques, including some movement techniques, as well as like just some things I noticed about the mobs on my approach to Hell. And then once we get to Hell, I'm going to go ahead and talk strats there. So if you just want to hear like the Hell strats and you already have a good handle on like movement and like combat in the base dungeon, go ahead and skip to around the 10-minute mark because that's when I usually actually get there. But if you would like some pointers in regards to that, then go ahead and keep watching. These are techniques that can be useful to anybody, and I might be covering some things that maybe you don't know, so it could be useful to you, but I am not going to be going into like some beginner, like the more beginner level stuff. Go ahead and watch any of the previous videos in my series before this point if you want like more beginner strats. However, this is like all of the tips that I'm going to try to cover here are going to be, like I said, like more intermediate. So as this was intended to be kind of a melee supplement, I'm going to talk a couple of melee strats. One right here. After I fight this archer, you'll see I fight another archer, and once you're familiar with kind of the archer aggro range, what you can do is kite the archer back until he's right next to a corner or something, and you can get him kind of so he's shooting the wall and pop out and hit him, and you can even fit in a couple of attacks between each one of his shots or a series of shots, which is kind of cool. That might come off, I mean, that one's pretty obvious. But maybe not to some people, and it wasn't obvious to me at first. So that's huge for a melee character, and you can use that in Hell as well. And on a note, like, what's going to make you good at Hell isn't following all of the exact routes and paths that I have displayed in my videos. It's going to be being able to kind of improvise and path your way through according to the storm circle, because that should be the main driving factor that dictates like how you path. So being able to improvise is going to save your life constantly in the Inferno. The second thing I'd like to talk about right now is momentum. And this is something that someone has been teaching me a lot about recently. It's when you switch weapons, or when you attack, or when you do really anything, like put a weapon away or pull it out, you move slower. Also, when you're moving side to side, you move slower than when you're moving forward, and when you move backward, you're moving even slower than when you move side to side. So what you can do to mitigate that is jump, because when you jump, you maintain your current velocity. So if I want to keep moving forward at the same rate as I was moving before I attacked, for instance, I'd want to jump and then immediately attack. And that's why you'll see a lot of fighters, and I thought they were just being spazzes, you'll see a lot of fighters jump right before they attack every single time they attack, or almost every single time they attack. Now that specific method to maintain your velocity can be utilized in so many ways, and I am not the greatest example of how to do it because I am still mastering it myself. But audibly, not reflected in the video, the concept remains the same, and I think it's a really important concept to practice. And just knowing why you're looking at what you're looking at, perhaps when you spectate someone or when you watch someone else doing something, is going to help your gameplay a lot. Alright, so I'm going to talk about the skeleton footmen a little bit here, and all the rules that I state here are going to go for the footmen with the shield and without the shield. That's the skeleton with the short sword. When they do the overhead swing, just a point I want to touch on, you can fit 3 attacks in, and it's pretty safe. Anything more than 3 attacks is greedy and you're probably going to get hit. When they do the side swing, like the shoulder upper right to lower left swing, you can only fit in 2 attacks. And this goes for almost every single weapon besides like a bow. I'm talking melee strats here. Anything more than 2 attacks is greedy and you're going to get hit. And I fought a skeleton before the skeleton that I just fought with a knife as well. I think I'm about to fight one in a second here. I just kind of show off how you can fit in 3 attacks when they do the overhead swing, but only 2 attacks when they do the slash. Also, you'll see, there's a lot to talk about here, but I hope it comes together for you. You'll see that when I go to dodge most attacks, I will turn to the side and then step sideways and then jump and then turn back towards him, because I don't want to be moving backward away from him, because then I'm moving really slowly. I want to turn to the side, move just a step, and then jump so I can have that sideways momentum, and then I turn back towards him. But with a rapier, as like another thing, you can look in the fight that I just had, the rapier has just enough range to where you can just poke him in the head basically over and over and over again, and you'll get a feel for how it works as long as you keep them right at the end of the range. You can see their AI gets a little confused because they don't know whether to try to hit you because you're just right at the end of their range, or whether to like step forward. And you can get in like a ton of attacks as long as you just like kite right outside of their kind of like hit distance. Now this only goes for the skeleton footmen. All of the tips that I just shared regarding attack, like how many attacks you can fit in, only go for the skeleton footmen. If you're super big into kiting like I am, then the spearmen, the axemen, yeah, those are the big ones. They are going to be 1 attack. No matter what, 1 attack, and you're barely going to be able to get that attack in, and then you have to run and jump away. However, the Zweihander, I'm sure you've seen other people do this strat. Every time they attack, you can duck and look down, and you'll be able to evade that attack. Now, I'm a big charisma player. I try to make friends with almost every single player I see, and part of that is just always having prox chat on. If you want to make friends, I'm going to say 90% of the friends you would have made, you aren't going to be able to make if you don't have prox chat on. People are going to want to talk to you. You can press period and comma in game to toggle the chat modes. I think comma turns VoIP on and off, and then like period changes modes. Now, since I almost never do PvP, I'm almost just there for emotional support in this fight, because I do team up with these guys. That's not illegal. It's like pre-teaming that's illegal. But I think just me being there, like a ranger in the background, does some good things for this team, because that enemy team is not pushing as hard as they would have if, you know, there wasn't a ranger just standing in the background. Anyway, that's I know it was a little disjunct, but those are like the big strats that I wanted to cover on my approach. Like when it comes to momentum, and that goes for almost anything. If you find that you do something slower than you would like to at any point in time, like it makes you move slower, just go ahead and jump right before you do it. Other than that, those are like kind of all the intermediate tips that I have right now. The focus really is hell, so if you want like an advanced movement guide or whatever, you can go ahead and look up someone else's guide. I will make one in the future if nobody covers that, but I have to finish the Hell for Dummies series first. So other than that, I'm just going to kind of let the rest of the game roll. I think I just kind of wrap my way down into the red staircase. I say goodbye to my peeps, and yeah, that's basically it. Now, not much else happens during the course of this match. I just kind of like banter with the homies and whatnot and then head down the red. We do get into a fight, which is kind of cool, but I'm going to speed it up.
Players here, players.
I don't really want to lose any health just for the sake of the tutorial, but good luck, guys. I'll take a couple shots here. Spoiler, I literally take 0 shots. I don't want to hit you. Oh my gosh. Who's who? Oh, you guys are... Oh, that's you! Oh my god, I did get you mixed up. I was like, I don't even want to take part because I'm not good at PvP. Alright, good luck, guys. Good luck. Alright guys, so let's talk strats. You can see that I have a logo covering my minimap. You can thank stream snipers for that inconvenience. You'll know when you spawn in this location because it'll be like an inner kind of triangle with like an outer walkway around it, and when you open this door, you'll see like some pots obviously and like these stairs right here. I always like breaking that pot and then running past this guy. I break that pot so that I have a wider swath of area to fight the death head. And then just remember this stair because this stair is really good to cheese everything on. But this isn't the room that we're covering today. But I'm going to do this video in a tutorial soon once I have the luck of spawning here with a good storm circle. But the storm circle is absolute garbage, so I actually just have to cut out of this room. There's the nameless champion room to that door that's like behind me right now. But the storm circle is not on that. The storm circle is actually pushing me to the middle. When you have to get pushed out of this room this way, it's worth clearing that minion, clearing this archer, and then you got to be really wary when you cross this gap. There is a mummy that usually spawns. For some reason he doesn't spawn in this video. Maybe it's a map layout thing, but there is a mummy that when you go to take out these death heads will like sometimes spawn. And if you accidentally get both enemies at once, I would say just jump up on the upper step because it takes the mummy forever to walk around, and just fight the death head up there. You just have to kind of remember where they land the first time they boost, and then they're going to boost again. So just kite laterally to them again. So pretty easy peasy. But there's 2 death heads on that middle platform. The platform that you'll see I'm like looking at right there. I'm trying to get the other death head out because I don't want to fight the dogs that are up there and the death head at the same time. So just be really careful. Kite the death heads out one at a time. I'm looking for the mummy. I'm like, where's that mummy? Anyway, I've had this happen a couple of times. If he gets caught on that lamp and you're able to take advantage of it, go ahead and take advantage of it. The dogs don't aggro until you step like all the way onto the platform, so I'm pretty sure you can just like go up there and just barely hit him at the tip of your range. And then take out these dogs however you feel. Sometimes I like fighting them both at the same time. It's kind of cool. But I go for a consistent strat because that's what the tutorials are all about. It's like as safe as you see here. It's ridiculously safe. You just kite them back one at a time to the step. In fact, most of the enemies in this room after you do this can be kited back to this step. But the order of operations in this room is going to be really important, and the biggest thing that you're going to be wary of the entire time is those death heads, because I've died like a bunch to those death heads before I'm prepared, as well as the demon bat hanging under the bridge, but he'll leave you alone if you just don't go over there. And it's simply from coming down and trying to use that step for cheese when those death heads are still alive. So I'm going to cover this room in like a different video. Really, this is just like one way to escape from it. We're going to be talking about demon mouth and the melee strats in another room. So this is ridiculously important. If an enemy in the inferno has an electric part on it, don't hit the electric part or it will reflect your damage. Fighting the dogs is really easy. You just strafe laterally to them, and every time you hear them make an attack, you can fit in one attack of your own. If you kind of mess up your flow, if you watch that back, I like fall out of sync with being able to attack them like once in between each time. That's cool. Just kind of run in a circle until you hear them attack and reset your flow. Okay, so now we're entering Blood Bridge. I have covered in another video when you approach from this side. This room can be attached to a couple of different rooms depending on the layout, but it's pretty simple. You take out the archer, try not to run too far in. If you are a melee, kite him back to the corner like I was talking about earlier of the doorway and fight him there. Trust me, because there's a demon berserker at the bottom who likes to wander around, and if you are over there trying to fight that archer, he'll aggro sometimes when you're not prepared, and then you have a demon berserker on your ass, and that's not cool. But once the archer is dead, you can run up onto this block and everything steps within melee range of you. So an important thing is being able to get into the boss room from anywhere, and if you have to cut this corner to get into the boss room, you're still going to have to take out these 3 enemies. And the reason that I always talk about getting into the boss room from anywhere is because once you're in the boss room, you can get anywhere else, like if you're being pushed by the storm circle. Now if you want to cheese this corner, you can grab everything's hate, and your friend can try to like eke by and open the door and then close the door behind you. But that's legit like a panic strategy. But otherwise, this block is 100% safe to kill every enemy in the room from. In fact, when I come down here with a friend, I like running around the room like a crazy person and aggroing everything and then coming up onto this block. The only thing that can hit you is the centaur's first attack that starts on his top right shoulder. And all you have to do is jump every time he does that attack. It's rather telegraphed, and with a bit of practice, you'll be able to get it pretty easily every single time. You don't really even need to crouch, but I always crouch whenever I jump just for consistency. But that about wraps it up for Blood Bridge when it comes to the melee strats. You can clear this room really easily. There's a golden chest in the center, potentially, you know, a lion's mane that could even be open if you don't have lockpicks. And then there's a chance on the opposite side of where I'm at, in the middle of the walkway, there's always a lever, but there's a chance that the chests that are up there also are like golden or lion's mane. There's 2 chests up there, so that's really nice. Be wary though, because when you open up that staircase by flipping the lever, you aggro a wraith that's up there. To save time, I like to flip that lever and then run up the staircase up into, it's pretty sketchy, right up into the wraith's face, because it spawns both of the skelly minions as well, and then turn around just in time, because if you get hit by that wraith, you're basically dead. It'll like infinitely slow you. And then you have all 3 enemies aggroed, and you can run back to the block. Easy peasy. On a note, the only reason I suggest that is because it saves time. The first couple of times you do it, just kite the wraith down first, then kite the melee minions down. Okay, keep this grate in mind. This grate is super important. No matter where demon mouth spawns or what it's attached to, it's always going to have grates at every single entrance. I'm just going to show you this really quickly. Someone showed me this at one point. This is cool. You don't even have to flip the lever to get to this chest. You can reach it from there. And I don't have a lockpick, but sometimes it's open. You just get lucky and it's open. So you just do a crouch jump up onto that. A note about that clipping though, all of the clipping that looks like that, or I should say like architecture that looks like that, those like spikes, it's made for you not to be able to stand on top of it or traverse it that well. So you have to kind of crouch jump up there and try not to like be too confident in moving around on top of that crap, because it'll kill you. Okay, so there's 2 demon bats as far as I know, and if there's a third, then, you know, whatever. This strat works for all of them. You just open the grate, go in, jump around until they come down, and then close the grate behind you. Now what you saw there is if you do it too quickly before the demon bat is too low, he will get caught on top of the clipping above you. And this is worth noting as well. If they are de-aggroed from being on top of the clipping for too long, they just break. Their AI breaks and they start wandering off, which is kind of a blessing and a curse, because if you make it out of the room quickly while they're kind of like broken like that, then that can be a time save strat. The rooms all along the outside of the walkway you can close yourself into every single one of them. So if you need to like just make your way from each one of those little rooms to each of the other ones, and you'll see when you spawn in there, you can open the door, just jump up, aggro the demon bat, run back in the room, close the door, and like go to the back of the room and chill for a minute. And the demon bat will be broken when you come back out. But he only stays broken for so long. They will re-aggro after like a minute to like 3 minutes, I've found. But once you shoot them, they'll immediately re-aggro. So this grate is also insanely useful for entering the room behind me. I haven't covered that either. But when you enter this room, when it's attached, or the room behind me, when it's attached to this room, you can use that grate to clear all of the mobs in that room, as well as like the other cheeses that exist in that room. So like this whole lower walkway is full of, you know, those fart zombies, which I think are kind of sketchy. But you can just make a jump down here after clearing that first demon bat and then just like run out, which is kind of cool. You will aggro the other demon bat if you haven't cleared it yet when you go to make your climb back up, but only when you go to make your climb back up, because there's a demon bat like basically above each exit. Another important thing is all of the clipping down there on like that architecture is also designed to be really hard to jump across. So just imagine that the objects are bigger than they are and that the developers were trying to stop you from getting out of that hole. Like jump up the lowest part, and that's probably the best strat. Also, just to increase your consistency, every time you jump, go ahead and crouch as you jump to bring your legs up into the air, and you'll be able to make higher jumps than you were able to without that. But this is usually how I access this lion's mane, is I just clear the one demon bat that's at the exit that I care about, and then I run down, I grab that chest. The other demon bat doesn't aggro until you get up high enough. Something to keep in mind if you're like Big John in it and you want to clear the entire room is there's all those fart zombies on the walkways, but almost every single one of those cells that you saw on the bottom walkway as well has a friggin' skeleton in it too. So keep that in mind if you want to Big John and clear the entire room. But yeah, that's basically everything. I know it was a lot of talking. I almost didn't take a breath for the past like 2 minutes, but I hope I covered everything. And you'll see that yeah, both of those rooms, though more intimidating than a lot of other rooms, are actually quite a bit easier than a lot of other rooms. Just be wary of those death heads. Like, that's huge. In that first room that I spawned in, be stupid wary of those death heads when you're cutting down onto that step. So that's it for the tutorial, but if you want to be a part of the loot giveaways I host on my Twitch, go ahead and check me out at the link below. I save all of the best loot for you guys. I actually don't bring any of it or wear any of it into the dungeon. I've got cookies and ingots and a bunch of keys that I give away on a random day out of every week. And aside from that, I would legitimately love to see you there. We're building a pretty supportive community, and a lot of the people that have been congregating have been super nice. And on another note, if you enjoyed the video or you learned anything, please drop a like and a subscribe down below. It's super appreciated. So yeah, I really appreciate your time, and I hope that all of my trial and error can save you guys a crap ton of time in the future. So without keeping you any longer, I hope you have a lovely day. Good luck and Godspeed, adventurers.